It's been a struggle to get back in the garden with this extreme heat here in southeast Queensland. We've had a few weeks of no rain and very high temperatures, which has dried a lot of things out. We do have some expected rain this week, and if this year's anything like previous years, we'll probably get a decent amount. If you're new here, I'm Nikki, and I'm on a mission to grow as much food as I can on our suburban block here in the subtropics of Australia. Every month I plant a small staple bed of fast growing crops to ensure there is always something to harvest from the garden. Our climate is different from most, our most productive months being over the cooler months. Summer is the problem child. So if you've struggled through summer, know that it is completely normal. If you do want a fuss-free summer in the garden, I suggest that you just put in a load of sweet potatoes and wait until April. As we're edging to the end of summer, which at this point doesn't really feel like it's ending anytime soon, we do still have to start putting in some of our cool season crops so we don't miss our small window of growing opportunity, particularly for those slow growers like cauliflower and cabbage. So as for our staple bed, it is our last one for the warm season fare. I'll be using my wicking bed, which I planted out in November. I'm turning this over already. It does still have a few things going in it. I've got my beetroot still growing. I've got lemon basil, perpetual spinach, spring onions, and some rocket. We had loads of cucumbers out of here. The zucchini struggled with the cucumber fly stings, but then caterpillars came and decimated the whole thing while I wasn't paying attention. A lot of other things survived, but the cucumber and the zucchini did not. So essentially, I will be replacing my cucumbers with some climbing beans and my zucchini with a tomato. Then I'm going to be just space filling around with some lettuce seedlings. I did have a major greenhouse disaster where I lost my tropic tomato that I had sown back in December. And when I say major disaster, I used pure worm castings and way too much organic extra fertilizer when I repotted up to a larger pot. As a result, the seedling cooked. So I did have to go and buy from the nursery. Obviously, I couldn't find a tropic. So I went with a Grosse Lycée instead. Both are indeterminate varieties. They vine and will take over. I will accept the cage is not going to contain it, and I'm crossing my fingers that this bed will become a mass of tomatoes come May. But chances are we'll get a stupid amount of rain next month and a fungal disease will decimate it anyway. It could go either way. I was planning on planting some purple king beans, but I realized I hadn't planted any snake beans all year. So I'm going to go in with some red noodle snake beans, as I do need to grow some of these to restock my shop. They're hard to get. I know people ask me all the time, and I did run out a little while back. If you're not planting around stuff like I am, you could definitely space fill around the tomato with some direct sown beetroot and some more lettuce. And as I already have Sweet Alice growing as a beneficial flower, I'm not going to plant any more additional flowers, but you could definitely space fill around the tomato with some marigold plants. And if you're not loving this combination, anything that I've planted in my staple beds from August through to December will work this time of year for us here in the subtropics. When I plant out this time of year, I always pop over some shade for the first few days, otherwise things just cook. Often insect netting is enough, but I do have this section of shade cloth that's big enough for these beds. Now into the greenhouse. If you missed last week's video, I had already started my broccoli and cauliflower seeds, and I aim to get these seeds sown at least 6 weeks before planting out into the garden, which will line up for the first few weeks of March. Cauliflower does have a very small window, so it's the only time that I will sow it, but broccoli I will succession plant over the months. We eat a lot of broccoli here, so it's always good to have it pumping through the garden. So just a quick rundown of what is actually inside my greenhouse. My greenhouse is designed specifically for propagating veggie seeds. All I have is what I plant to put in my garden, as well as the worm farm. Once the seeds are sown, I just leave them in trays in here. I use a water up method to keep them hydrated. I don't have any irrigation or anything like that. The shade itself is 30%, so it means that it is quite a light shade, and Therefore, when I plant out in the garden, there's not that major transplant shock and they don't need hardening off. The pots I use are Windstrip Mini Winnies. They are air pruning pots. They're quite rigid and durable. I got these from a supplier down in Tasmania called Active Vista. I have 3 sizes. I have the very small, medium, and also the large. As for seed raising mix, at the moment I'm just using a commercial one that I found easily. I'm not 100% happy with it, but I'll just show you an example. This stuff isn't very strong, so what I have to do, particularly with things that are staying in the greenhouse for a little bit longer, is I do have to fertilize in addition. So here's an example of a couple of cells that I have fed versus not fed. With all I've done is put a few little sprinkles of the organic extra on top, and you can already see there's a dramatic difference. So make sure if you are using a commercial seed raising mix that you are fertilizing as the seedlings go beyond that first true leaf. As for this month, I'm going in with some more cool season crops with some red acre cabbage. This one will take a bit longer than some of the other crops that I have in my staple beds, but it grows fairly compact compared to other cabbages, so I can continue to succession plant around it. I'm also going to go in with some mixed kale. It's so easy and hardy to grow that it's just a default for me. If you don't love to eat it, it does make a great trap crop for bugs. Chickens love it as well. If you're still resisting it, then swap it out for Swiss chard, Asian greens, or even lettuce. Now I'm making a start on some headed lettuce varieties. For a while we've just been doing loose leaf because of the heat, but we're going to go in with a Great Lakes variety, which is a type of iceberg. It will take a bit longer than some of the loose leaf varieties, and typically I don't harvest the outer leaves as it grows, as it will bolt to seed and it won't form that beautiful heart. So if you harvest the outer leaves of your lettuce, I would probably suggest getting some loose leaf varieties in as well, so you can have that succession. As for the herb of the month, I'm going in with a dill. It's my favorite cool season herb and such a great beneficial plant. If you let it go to seed, it will just attract so many lady beetles. You could also still plant basil now, but I do have a lot of that around the garden, so I'm not going to do that this month. I had planned on putting beetroots direct into the garden with my tomato, but as I was planting around existing things, I'm just going to pop some in the greenhouse and use them as space fillers around the garden next month. That's pretty much everything we've planted this month. Next month will be a bit busier as it's onion planting time and garlic planting time later in the month, along with continuing on with our succession staple beds. If you want to follow along with my planting videos, I have put together a bundle of seeds that includes everything that we plant in our staple beds for the next 3 months. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.